If you're not familiar with Vintage Story, then you might be wondering what I meant by that title. Now, I'm sure most of you have played it, but for the non-initiated, this game has so much more creative potential than Minecraft. And that's not just because it has so many block types and so many furniture and decorations. It's because there are mechanics unique to the base game here that are not found in vanilla Minecraft. The first being chiseling is a huge part of Vintage Story. You can make any kind of custom shape that you can dream of. I was gonna make a sphere, but that's gonna take too long. The second being multi-blocks. So not only can you create custom shapes with chiseling, you can combine several different materials into the same block. As you imagine, there's a lot of possibilities with that. The third being beams. They serve a functional purpose in harder game modes, but people mostly use them for accents. You can quickly connect 2 points with a massive degree of precision using beams, which allows me to make something like this. It's almost a star. I didn't have enough. So while using these mechanics, you can build stuff like this, or this, which again isn't possible in vanilla Minecraft. Now, that title is kind of aggressive. I'm sure you could create a crazy mod pack that might give you options similar to these in Minecraft. But I want you all to realize that this is in the base game. It's very well incorporated. What? Fell in a pit. It's consistent with everything. It runs very well. And just imagine what mods in this game can add. In this video, I'm going to build a castle. Can't not build a castle. The textures in this game, I think, lend themselves very well to that style, and I've always wanted to. Maybe you can see here on the map slightly, I've got kind of a layout for a castle right here. It's not easy to make out on the map. It's not very easy to make it out from in person either. But since I'm building a castle in this game, I want to take full advantage of the opportunities that are given to you by this game's mechanics. I want to build something that you really couldn't build in Minecraft. I want to have a totally diagonal tower. I want to have circular towers on the walls. I want to have walls that are like weird angles, 22.5 degrees or something. I really want to stretch the build system to its limits and just see what we can accomplish. So that's what we're going to do. Well, now that I've finished the opening monologue, I should probably get you out of that pit. Here, look away. He's actually an excellent climber. Wow. Look at you. Yeah, he's a great climber. He's just shy, so... This place is such a mess. I can't wait to get into a castle and just organize everything. Look at all this crap I have laying around. And now I've got this junk that I don't need. I'm sure it'll be all put to great use. So I've been gathering a lot of materials to build this structure with. That mainly is I've been quarrying limestone, getting a lot of glass, blasting quartz to get glass, that kind of thing. It's taken up a lot of time to do. Let me show you. I have, how many stacks? Nearly 6 stacks of limestone rock. That is not easy to do if you know how quarrying works in this game. I've also got like 2 crates and then an extra 348 of limestone stones, which we can turn into all kinds of stuff. My goal is to mainly use that. But the other block that I wanted to use for the structural parts is a mud brick. So there's 2 kinds of mud brick. There's light mud brick and there's dark mud brick. And despite the fact that it's mud, it actually looks very nice. I really like this pattern that it has. And it has this color to it that I think would go well with limestone. We also have dark mud brick, I guess. I don't know if I'll put that to use, we'll see. So as far as limestone goes, here are the kind of blocks that we can make with limestone. We can do cobblestone, of course. We do limestone rock polished, of course. Looks nice. Now, limestone ashlar blocks are especially white looking compared to the polished rocks, which are a little bit more yellow. The rock itself is like a mix of both. Then we have limestone dry stone, which I think is similar to the mud brick. And I like how this looks a lot. And maybe we have a few other options here and there. So to make like these ashlar blocks, these huge bricks, to make these dry stone, we need limestone ashlar blocks. To do that, we kind of have to break up these polished rocks, and then we have to chisel a normal rock. It's a big process. It is kind of convoluted. We also have to get mortar. All right, I have to mix mortar together with lime, and to get lime, I've got to grind it. There's a lot of steps. First thing we do, line up the hammer, line up the chisel, line up the limestone, lime it up. Okay, then we can break that further into slabs, and then we can break that further into ashlar. And boom, 1 stack of limestone rocks turned into 8 stacks of bricks. We can make dry stone with this without any mortar. That's why it's called dry stone. But to make like this stuff, we're gonna need mortar. So it's mixing slaked lime and then sand in a barrel. Slaked lime is water, quick lime is lime. Lime you get by crushing. Okay, so we're gonna need a quern. There's a lot of hubbub, a lot of language I'm throwing. Oh, I got all these swavite impact rocks. Can I use that for the quern? I think I can use it. No? Oh. Yeah, the only querns we can make are granite, andesite, basalt, and peridotite, which are just very hard igneous rocks. That's why they can be used for that. Not like soft sedimentary stone like sandstone or limestone or whatever, which is coincidentally all that we have. I'm surprised swavite can't be made into a quern, but who am I to judge? Let's just go underground real quick. What's the deal with swavite? Why is it so special? If you don't know, swavite impact rock is made for meteorite impacts. This game does not have meteorites like Terraria does. They don't just randomly destroy stuff in your world. They generate there. And if you're lucky enough, you can spot them in the surface. Like you can spot a crater. They're kind of hard to make out with all the foliage. This is andesite. And swavite impact rock usually generates with the meteor itself, which is made of meteoric iron. It's a very rare metal. We need 4 of these, don't we? You kind of got to mine this in a specific pattern if you want the most out of it. Like this. You have to break all sides of that block so it can kind of like pop free. And then boom, you have it. If you didn't know why it's so hard to get those before, now you do. Anyway, swavite's a rare rock. I came across a crater that had a lot of it. And I'll maybe use it for something special in the castle. We'll see. Look at that sky. You can see the Milky Way. There's the moon. You know what? I think tonight there's supposed to be a lunar eclipse. Like in the real world, not in the game. Maybe I should look into that. Alright, 4 andesite rock. Am I still getting this incorrect? Oh, I need the hammer and the chisel. There we go. Okay, boom. We have a cairn. It's the first one of this base. We can grind down limestone into lime, but we can also grind down chalkstone into lime. I want to save my limestone. I don't know how much of it I'm going to need. And it's a very slow process. Alright, I'll probably have to grind way more lime later, but I guess this is enough for an example. It'll start us off. It takes a very long time to cook, actually. I guess I should put away all this crap. I actually did just run outside in real life to see if there's that lunar eclipse like I was talking about. It's actually totally overcast at night, so not possible to see. Look at this, I bought a new painting. I found a trader who was selling paintings. I've got this one, Painting Howl. It's called Howl. I like it. Now I've got this one, which is called Sunken Ruin. I think that's pretty cool. You look at it from far away, maybe you can squint and kind of make out what it's trying to depict. I think it'll look a lot better in my new castle once that's finished. There's a lot of specific rooms I'd like to have in the castle. I've been thinking about this, I've been writing it down. Now, there's a lot of different mechanics in this game in general. You know, there's like growing crops, animal husbandry, cheese making, pottery, tanning, blah, 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 blah. I want all those to be their own dedicated buildings that are outside the castle. They're going to be specialized buildings for each thing. So the castle's going to have like everything else. I'm thinking, of course, it's going to have my bedroom. It's going to have, my storage, my mass storage. It's going to have cellars to hold food. I want it to have a very nice kitchen. But I also like it to have like an outside garden, a library, a pretty bedroom, nice interiors, fireplaces, maybe like a treasure hall or a painting hall. I wouldn't mind it having a windmill, you know, at least just one, so I can have a little bit of automation inside the castle. I don't think it would hurt. I plan on having other windmills and the other exterior buildings. This really does take a long time. 2 lime cooks into 1 quick lime, so we're halfway through. I still have all these animals. They're just going to have to wait until I can get a home for them. It's not going to be in my castle, that's for sure. While I'm waiting, let's check on my crops. I have a greenhouse. It's not a real greenhouse, but I have a greenhouse on top of my little base here. It looks like actually a lot of these have been grown. And the ones that aren't growing are very poorly moisturized. There we go. This side, I actually think this is all grown. There's no point in moisturizing it. I say moisturize, I mean watering it, hydrating it. That's way better. This spelt is all finished growing. So yeah, I definitely need a cellar to hold all this stuff. I've been getting some harvests on these crops, obviously. I need a place for them. This flax will certainly come in handy when making a windmill. By the way, there's something I neglected to mention for my whole, oh, I'm out of room, a kind of opening sermon, and that's that Vintage Story 1.22 is right around the corner. I really don't have a lot of room in here. It's right around the corner, and it adds a lot of new stuff I'm really excited for. It adds new shelving mechanics, so like you can build and customize a shelf. You can make them as tall as you want, as wide as you want. You can add any item. You can just set them down anywhere inside the shelf, just like a real life. There's not necessarily a predetermined position where you can set things. It's very customizable. There's different designs, different wood types. You can make different cabinet drawers for them. It's a big bonus for interior decoration. There's new crops being added. I think that the new crops being added are mainly for fishing purposes, so you can have bait for fishing. There's a new source of mechanical power being added, which is the water wheel. And the water wheel is a huge build, but it's an efficient, consistent source of power. You just have to find a specific kind of water flow that's fast enough to power it. There's a lot of other new stuff I'm certainly missed. There's a lot to look forward to. I'm very excited about it. I'm not sure how that's going to affect this world. I feel like I've heard that the world generation is going to change in that update or in an update soon after that one. I don't know if it's going to be overhauled or if it's just going to be little bits changed, like those fast-flowing rivulets that allow you to build water wheels. Obviously, everywhere that I've explored, which is a lot of the world, will not have those. I don't think you can transport them either. It's not like you can create them yourself, so whatever. Anyway, let's get a barrel going here. What is it, this? Why don't I remember how to make a barrel? Oh, yeah, there it goes. There we go. One barrel. A little bit of quick lime. And just add water to it. How much does it take to make slate lime? It's 1 liter of water for 4 quick limes. So actually, I need to only put in 2 liters, and then boom, it turns into slaked lime. Really not a whole lot, not very much at all. Then I mix that with some kind of sand. That makes 8 mortar. We have 8 slaked lime. Let's get some sand, I guess. I'm gonna assume that I don't have any. While I'm over here, so something like this. This is like a rivulet or a waterfall, whatever you want to call it. This is flowing water. The water that's going to be able to power water wheels is going to be different. It's going to be, I think, inset into the ground a little bit and a lot faster. It's going to be just a different type. You can't make it yourself. It has to be naturally generated. That makes things interesting. So the water wheel is an alternative to the windmill, but not a replacement. And the way that I understand that is that a windmill can be built anywhere, but it's temperamental, as you guys know. Depending on like the direction, how high you built it, what the weather is that day, you're gonna get a certain amount of wind power. There's no sand over here, all right, whatever. Sand over there though. So it's like not a consistent source of power. Probably requires a lot of flax, which requires you to have a full crop harvest to make. But the water wheel, you know, is wood and it's like metal. It's a consistent source of power. The water's always flowing. I think it's even flowing in winter. I hope this is the right kind of sand. But you're limited on where you can build the water wheels because they can only be around these sources of fast-flowing water. I'm really excited for the new update to drop. I can't wait to see what we can do with it. And that's why I'm now kind of hesitant to install certain mods. So for a while I was talking about the food shelves mod, which adds like way more ways to store food, way new types of food, like giant barrels, shelves, I think like primitive refrigerators. I think it adds a lot of stuff, right? But since the new shelving units are gonna be added, I think a lot of other new functionality is gonna be added in the next update. Well, I don't really need that mod, at least I don't think that I need it. So it might conflict, so I've decided I won't be getting that one. However, I do want to install one mod that'll be a big help when working on this castle. I'll go into it in a second. But there we go. Wow, 64 mortar. All right, and that can make... So each piece of mortar can be equivalent to, looks like, 2 ashlar blocks. 128 ashlar blocks? That's not bad. And... Ta-da! That just went to the barrel. Now, let's make the mud brick. So this one should be considerably easier to make. Of course, it's not the same show of wealth that a limestone brick is. I think a limestone is like a considerably rare rock. At least on this world, it's a very rare rock. I had to make a specific quarry and look for it. These light mud bricks require sand again. Okay. So the difference between light mud bricks and dark mud bricks is that one of them has sand, one of them doesn't. It's interesting. Some kind of sand, some kind of clay. All right, fine. I bet you there's sand down here that I just didn't pay close enough attention to. Yeah, okay, look at that. Just kind of hate to tear up the beach, though. Okay, dirt, sand, clay. I will probably need more grass than this. And, well, what's the issue? Huh? What's the problem? That's what I got here. Oh, wait. There we go. Of course, I can only make one. Hold on. Thank God for the scythe. I think it'd be cool to use a real scythe. You know what I mean? It's pretty archaic, of course, but it doesn't require fuel. You just gotta sharpen it occasionally and use your own muscle. And I think that would be neat to use. Boom. I guess the other thing was limestone, drystone. Limestone, drystone. Limestone, drystone. That's what we need. Limestone, drystone. Let's make a little bit. Why not? Boom. 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 Should be a really simple recipe. There we go. Alright, so basically, as you can see here, this is like a real big mess. I have cob that I've used to outline the kind of like blueprint of this building. Just because like a little bit of dirt and a little bit of grass gets you a lot of cob blocks, so it's a nice way to get a lot of blocks. And it's kind of like distinct looking from the grass, so I could tell where my lines actually were. But yeah, it's just basically a blueprint. And then I've done like a little bit of scaffolding here because there's this big pit that I'm going to be building this thing over. Which may be helpful, you know what? Because I do want this build to have cellars. I don't know if they're going to be directly underneath this. They'll probably be more over here. We'll see. Anyway, let's compare some of these blocks here. So first we have limestone ashlar blocks. And these are very cool. You can get a pretty neat pattern with them. It's not necessarily orderly. They're kind of random, which I like. I like that it's not totally orderly. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of a mix there. It's kind of nice. There's the limestone, drystone, kind of the same situation. It looks good. This might be better as just like something to walk on or like the base of something or I don't know. It's a good texturing block, but I don't think it's a good main material block. And then there is the light mud brick. And even though this sounds like dirt when you're placing it down, I think this is kind of the nicest brick that we have available to us. This is my favorite pattern. Like no other brick in this game has this pattern to it. I really, really love it. If you look, there's a million kinds of bricks. There are so many kinds of bricks. It's a very long list. Let me scroll through it all. There's a million kinds of bricks. And none of them look like the mud bricks. So we've got light mud bricks, we've got limestone ashlar blocks, we've got limestone drystone, and then of course I'll probably put to use numerous accent blocks to kind of create a nice looking gradient. Like polished stone, unpolished stone, cobblestone, which I totally forgot about. It looks like this, slightly different than the drystone. There's this fanned cobblestone. It's kind of neat for paths. And then of course we have this. So a lot of options. And I also talked about beams earlier. Wow, these take a long time to mine. Don't tell me that the fastest tool for them is the shovel. I didn't get that back. Oh no, I didn't get some of those back. What? Is that the danger with using mud brick? You don't get them all back? Dang. Anyway, as far as beams go, we have a lot of options for that available to us. I mean, there's a million colors of wood. I think we have pretty much every single wood type. So look at this. This is all the beam types that we have, right? All the different colors. Purple heart, walnut, ebony, redwood, larch, bald cypress, acacia, pine, maple, oak, birch, rotten wood, very aged wood, and then aged. I'm pretty sure this is what we used in the beginning of the video, this aged wood. What is very aged wood? Where the heck do you get this? I don't know. Rotten wood. Where do you get rotten debarked logs? I don't even know. Aged wood you can find in ruins. That's the only way to get aged wood. It's not renewable. But this stuff, I imagine you also get in ruins? I've never seen them, though. I guess if you really want those specific colors. Ebony's close. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking and get a lot more materials together. You know, I have a lot of limestone to kind of sit here and grind. I've got to cook it all. I've got a lot of grass to cut to make the bricks. I've got a lot of grinding to do in general. I'm kind of thinking, I haven't done a tea section in a while. Is it too early to have a tea section in the video? Is it too late at night to drink caffeine? It's 8:30 p.m. I don't know, but I really want some. You know, I've actually got some Earl Grey green tea. I got as a gift for Christmas. So maybe I can make that into like a London fog or something. Yeah, you know what? I'll do that. Kind of be nice to have at night. Instead of making it right in the mug, I am going to use a measuring cup. We're going to put the tea leaves right in here because I'm going to filter it out later. This is a blueberry black tea that I got when I was out. And we're just going to do boiling water, per usual, about 8 ounces exactly. A little bit more, actually. Can't hurt. And then I'm going to seal it up best I can. Over on the stove, I'm going to bring exactly 1 cup of oat milk to a boil. And then I'm going to add in just a tiny bit of vanilla extract, just a tiny bit. Over here, this is done, so I'm going to remove that. It's kind of got a little bit of suction. And then just pour it through a regular tea filter right into the mug. It works just fine. I find that steeping tea right in the liquid actually gives it a deeper flavor. So any excuse to not use a filter, I will use. Now we're going to use maple syrup. I made this maple syrup with my father. 2 tablespoons, 1 tablespoon, it's to taste. You know, I like a lot. I love this stuff. Make sure you're using the real kind. Just mix it in there a little bit. And we're done. Now just pour it in the mug with your blueberry tea. Give it a stir. And we're good to go. I've seen comments from people that see these tea sections in my videos and they're thinking that I'm doing some kind of like sponsorship. No, I just genuinely enjoy tea. I'm also generally against sponsorships. I don't have them on my channel. Though, I guess if I were to ever do a sponsorship, it would have to be tea because it's a product I regularly consume and I feel like people could trust me to tell you to drink it. But any other sponsor, like, that would just be me being disingenuous because no, I don't want to try Fume. I don't want to play War Thunder. Delete Me is a scam, by the way. It doesn't work. Anyway, so I used oat milk this time when I was making this London fog. Well, I guess it's a Newfoundland fog or Newfoundland fog, whatever. I used oat milk. The reason I used oat milk is because I've realized that using cream is kind of causes me gut problems. I used to just always get cream with coffee, with tea, and then recently I tried oat milk with coffee. And I rarely ever have coffee. I rarely ever go to a cafe. There's a little cafe in town. I got oat milk with it instead of regular milk. And usually when I drink coffee that's got creamer in it later in the day, I expect that I'll have a really upset stomach, if you know what I mean. And it's just like a price that I pay to enjoy a latte or something. But when I switched to oat milk, I didn't really have that problem, which surprised me because, you know, you think it's only a very little bit of cream. But I've noticed this. Every time I have creamy anything, it's not just in tea, but it can be in pasta, my stomach will suffer later. So I just kind of have an issue when it comes to that. So I'm trying oat milk. I used to do these with milk, these London fogs. But now I'm making a Nova Scotia fog. I forget what province it's named after, with oat milk. And blueberry tea. I'm a little worried because the blueberry tea is super strong. I don't normally drink it. Let's see. Oh, wow, that's delightful. Holy crap. Oh, man, that's like wondrous. That's so good. Holy smokes. Man. That is delicious. Holy crap. I'm sorry, it's like getting dark. I'm just enjoying this. Wow. Oh, God, that is so good. Anyway, try it for yourself. It's really not hard to do. If you want to elevate it, I guess you could like use a frother. I have a frother somewhere. Anyway, as you can see here, I have this wall kind of thing. So I was mainly using this dry stone and then the light mud bricks because that texture, they actually happen to fit together very well. Whereas like lime cobblestone, it's, well now it's kind of too dark to tell, but it's slightly off. It's slightly off color. And the ashlar blocks are a lot lighter. These colors are like perfect together. However, I don't know how much I dig that texture, that kind of mix of texture. It's almost like I want the whole wall to be a light mud brick. I don't, though I want a little bit of variance. And there's ways that we can kind of ease this. The other thing is this trim here. So I made ashlar slabs. Ashlar slabs are cheaper than ashlar blocks. They're actually like 5 ashlar bricks cheaper or something, I don't know. And I'm using them because I'm going to chisel them down. So here's my thought. First, I'm going to kind of shave these down. Just so you get an idea of this. And we're actually going to go up a little bit. And go like that. Might as well do this one too. So that kind of creates that sort of brick trim here, which I think looks very cool. Let's remove these real quick. Of course, it would look better in the daytime, for goodness sakes. Let me use a lantern. I feel like dropping torches like that should be a fire hazard, just because it would be interesting. Anyway, I really like this. I really like how that looks. You know what I mean? I think that's a really great trim. And so I think it would work on both sides for this structure. I could continue it like this. By the way, there are vertical slabs. I could have put that in the opening monologue, but I forgot about that. Love chiseling, love carpal tunnel. I think that looks really good. Now I could shave this even thinner. I could actually shave it down to the pixel scale if I really needed to. Now I wanted to kind of consider how I was going to incorporate these limestone dry stones into this main wall. Let's put this over a little bit. So my thought is I'll take one of these blocks out, I'll replace it with mud bricks, I'll turn it into a chiseled block. If you notice, my top tooltips change a little bit. So I'll very carefully just kind of like carve out some of these stones here. Just like this. I'm gonna have to go a little bit smaller to get this perfect. Okay, pressing F and then let's drag dry stone onto it. Then we can start adding the dry stone to this, and it's kind of hard to see if it even looks like anything. There we go, and maybe it doesn't look like much. It's almost like some of the bricks are falling out or they're cracked, you know what I mean? So we can use this as a way to like heavily detail these bricks. I think that's pretty cool. So imagine like what this whole wall would look like with occasionally a brick missing in that fashion. Let's do one more. Because these textures are dynamic, they kind of have to be chiseled uniquely, and so I don't have a problem with that. I hear a shiver freaking out behind me. Let's go a little smaller. Excuse me. Look, this is what they do. They take a bite and then they run away. Skulk off back to the frickin' shadows. You just watched that happen and you did nothing. I hear you. I hear you. There he comes. What you clicking? Yeah, see, there he goes. I don't even... Okay, whatever. Those things genuinely horrified me when I started the game, and now they're just kind of like, get off my lawn, you know? That's kind of how I feel about it. Oh my gosh. So it is a... See, I waited too long. Oh, now they're shooting at me. Alright, we're going back. We're going back. Whoa! Okay, so maybe this looks a little bit better incorporated than it did previously, but that took a long time. That took a very long time to do. Now I hope that including like vines, foliage, windows, of course, and other accents will help this build look a lot better than it does currently. And that's something that I need to get after. But before I go chiseling anymore, because I just built this wall and the back wall here as well, before I spend any longer chiseling this, I figure I should do something that would save me a lot of time. I value the nerves in my forearm. I'm going to install QP's Chisel Tools. QP's Chisel Tools is a mod that people have been recommending me for a while. I've known about it for a while. And I've never really gotten it because I guess I'm just hesitant to download mods in general. But it seems like QP's Chisel Tools is pretty regularly updated and used, so I'm going to use that. But it's a very popular mod, and I might as well save myself some time when I'm building this castle. So I guess I should make a backup before I do that. Alright, I've just installed QP's Chisel Tools. This mod adds so much stuff, and a lot of new tools that we have to forge in order to use. Let's just see, I think the pantograph is one that we definitely need. So I'm going to make a steel pantograph, which is an ingredient for chiseled door tool, multigraph, QP's chisel. There's so many tools that this adds. Oh god, this is very confusing to me. The hand planer, which allows you to scrape layers off of a block. Hand wedge, which allows you to kind of like push and mirror and rotate. And then these palette things, which I don't really understand. Oh wait, they allow you to get creative colors. Interesting. So you can get like new colors that you wouldn't normally be able to get. Look at that. The Jonas palette. Look how freaking expensive this is, man. Alright, anyway, well, let me heat up some steel. I tried to watch a 25-minute tutorial on how to use all the stuff that this mod adds, but that tutorial is years old. It seems like a ton of new stuff has been added. I mean, clearly, there's a lot that this thing can do. While that's heating up, let me show you everything that we can do with the chisel in the base game. I'll just give you a rundown. So I made this earlier. If you right-click any block with the chisel and the hammer and your left hand, you'll turn it into a chiseled block. Now it's this chiselable block. If I press F over that chiseled block, you can choose how big of a square you're working with. I can take a whole chunk out of it. I can take a 4x4. I could do just 1 pixel. You know, you can get really detailed if you want to. The other thing you can do is rotate it. Like if you really feel so inclined, you can flip it. You can name it. So I think if I right-click this, I can just set this as a name. I'll call this example. And so the tooltip, which usually shows you, like, oh, this is claystone, cobblestone, chiseled block. This is medium fertility soil, grassy. This is example, chiseled block. So it has a name to it. And then you can add new materials to the block. If you feel so inclined, I'll just add some cob to it, like I did earlier. And then suddenly this is your palette. This is your palette to work with. So you can subtract by left-clicking, and you can add by right-clicking. And since I've selected cob, it's adding... This kind of looks like someone pooped all over it. Okay, anyway. That's what you can do. That is what you can do in the vanilla game. Now, it's already a very powerful tool. But of course, certain things can become very tedious. So that's where QP's Chisel Tools comes in. Let's see what we can make. Wow, look how much more stuff is here. Oh god. Alright. The Chisel Door tool. You can make custom doors. Hand planer, hand wedge, ladder maker, custom ladders, chisel copy lock tool, paintbrush. What does a paintbrush do? Replaces the targeted voxel with the material in your first hotbar slot. Path maker, steel pantograph, simple steel pantograph. What is the difference? From what I understand, this QP's chisel thing, it looks like you have to combine a chisel and a pantograph to get it. Let's go for that. So I'm going to make a hand planer, hand wedge. I'm going to ignore a lot of this other stuff, and a pantograph. Ta-da, that's our hand planer. Doesn't look like the character's holding it correctly. That's okay. I guess it's the risk that you take with mods. Now let's make the hand wedge. Okay, there we go. Now let's craft a pantograph, I guess. This is interesting. Is this based off of something? Looks like a bunch of rulers stuck together. Got no idea if this is like a real life tool. Okay, we have this thing. I actually have one more ingot, so what should I make with that? Should I make a paintbrush? I guess I'll make a paintbrush. I'm pretty sure what this thing does is in the name. Okay, that's 2 paintbrushes. Let's cool these suckers off. Oh, you know what I should have done? I shouldn't have made a paintbrush. I should have made a chisel. Obviously, I've already got a meteoric steel chisel, but that mod doesn't seem to be compatible with QP chisel tools. Look, these cabbages are done. That's the thing with mods, cross-compatibility, right? It's kind of an issue. Check out this this glitch that I found. Hold on. If I like walk right up to this lantern to the point where I'm like inside the block containing the lantern, and then I try to like click a chest, it's kind of, it does something odd. So let me put my mouse over here when I have the inventory open. Let me click it. Seems to orient me right there every time. Isn't that kind of odd? Now if I stand here, maybe it'll be... No, I guess it's not. Okay, look at that. That's kind of crazy, huh? No, it seems to change what point it orients me to when I click on something, but it always will orient me to that spot unless I like run around or something. I have to be on this face of the lantern. Yeah, look at that. Anyway, odd thing. Let's pick up all of our crap. Alright, let's make a steel chisel. Ta-da! Okay, I'm fairly certain we can craft a lot of these together to create new tools. Alright? I think. Is there not a steel QP's chisel? No, there's not. There's only 3 bronze, 1 iron, 1 meteoric iron. There's no steel QP's chisel. That's weird. Okay, well, okay. We don't ever seem to be able to get what we want. The true chisel. Wait, what is this? The true chisel, a hammerless, ultra-high durability chisel for those who wish to pay the price. Note, the recipe consumes the hammer. I guess my thought is that I could create something like a multi-tool of some kind, but I don't know, let's just take it one thing at a time, I suppose. Okay, I'm sure the sun is coming up. I guess I woke up early. 4 a.m. Whatever. Let's practice some of these new tools, see what we can do with them. So I'm going to use this limestone cobblestone. First thing, I guess, let's use the hand planer. This is one that I think seems relatively simple to me. Hand planer has 4 options. You can add, remove any material, add, remove matching material, add, remove island mode, undo last block change. I don't know if we'll have much use for these other 2 tools. And if I were to show every little thing that this mod could do, I would have to learn a lot and then just relay that to you. So if you really want to know, go watch a hour-long tutorial on it. Anyways, what's useful to us, I think, is the first one, which allows us to... I think I have to turn... Yeah, okay, there we go. So basically, you click one face of the block, and you could shave off that entire face. And it looks like it goes 1 pixel at a time, or 1 voxel. And if I want to add to it, it just does the whole thing. It can create some pretty interesting shapes, I guess. If I click on that, look, it only removes that face. It doesn't remove that face. How specific this is. Anyway, we can make, I guess, a really weird block with that. Now the hand wedge, I think just moves it or mirrors it or rotates it, which I think we can already do that mostly. So look, it just moves the actual shape away from whatever side I'm looking at. And if you notice, the texture doesn't like move with it. It just kind of retains the texture projection. And then if I push it all the way to the edge of the block, it'll just kind of like destroy itself. I can undo that only once. Now we only have this little itty bitty soldier. Okay. Alright, so the paintbrush. What does that do? Seems to change the texture. I don't know. I think that replaces the targeted voxel with the material in your first hotbar slot. But my first hotbar slot is a meteoric steel falx. So I think it just kind of swapped the existing possible texture. I don't really know. It looks like it's changing. I don't think this will actually be useful to me. Alright, the pantograph allows for copying of another chiseled block's shape. This, I think, is pretty much the most useful thing we're going to use here. So let's say I really want this to look like that. I want to copy the shape, I want to copy the materials, whatever. I think if I left click, it'll make the camera sound, and then I right click. Okay, no, that didn't do it. I think this needs to be a chiselable block first. It is. Okay, yeah. Boom. See? So now that shape has been copied. Let's make this, like, better looking. Well, not better looking, just bigger. Copy this. Left click. Before any block can become chiselable, you have to right click it with the chisel tool of some kind. So now it's a chiselable block. And then right click again, you can copy the shape. The hand wedge, you can rotate this, I guess, many different directions. You can mirror it if you feel so inclined. So a lot of options are available to us. Pantograph can paste shape only. So I think that, like, I could copy this shape and put it onto cob, for example. Like this. That didn't seem to work. Oh, wait. There we go. So I could just copy the exact same shape, and it looks like it literally has 5,000 durability, but it doesn't seem to be taking any damage. You can paste shape and materials, so I think that if I left-click that, and then I right-click that, it'll paste the cobblestone onto it, but it doesn't retain the cob. Like, I click this, it doesn't say that it has cob with it. I don't know. It's very complicated. Paste material only, so that would only copy the material from one to the other. There's this one, which is merge shapes, so it basically takes this shape and pastes it over on top of this one. So they kind of combine with each other. You know what I mean? And that actually did seem to knock the durability down by 1. Anyway, that's all we can do. I'm going to delete these forever. Bye-bye. Alright, so look. When I wanted to create this pattern of bricks here before, now it's way faster. Before I had to individually remove every single voxel. Now I can use the hand planer. The first thing I wanted to do was shave this down, right? A considerable amount. And the next thing I wanted to do, which I could do with the regular chisel, just knock that out. And then we have this kind of shape. And then I think using the pantograph, copy, and then, well, we should be able to paste it, but it's not pasting. Okay. I think I need to switch back to paste shape. There we go. Ta-da! And boom, that was so much faster. Although there does seem to be lighting errors on these. That's weird. This doesn't have a lighting error, but this does. I don't know how to fix that. Oh, it looks like updating them with the regular chisel seems to fix that, but not placing and replacing, so that's kind of a problem for me. The last thing I want to do is, like, I actually do want to fill in this tiny little corner here. It's such a small amount of material, but I should do it. Use our hand planer on both sides. Shoot! I didn't mean to do that, but we can undo. I meant to left click to copy. Then we'll copy it onto there. Copy it onto there, copy it onto there, copy it onto there, and then boom. Now it's really filled in. I think it looks pretty cool. So look, there's going to be a wall on this opposite corner, but using the same tools, I can copy that same shape over to here. Let's copy with the pantograph. Let's paste onto here. Well, look, that's obviously not correct, so I think we can just rotate that to our needs. But, like, what if we wanted to do over here? We pasted it, We rotated it, and look, that's not the right direction. So let's get the hand planer back. Or the hand wedge. There, we could flip it. And then boom, that makes things super, super easy. Copy that. Easy, 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 easy. Saves a lot of time. A lot of time. I don't have to really like worry about orientation of these. There we go. Very easy way to do it. I think that once you copy something like this and you press P, oh, I had to look at the block. Okay, you have the option to save this into like your portfolio. And then once you save it into your portfolio, you can bring it back up. So you don't have to copy from an existing block. I could go to another building, just paste the same thing. I think I could even go on the servers and do it. So let's rename this to like limestone ashlar corner trim. And I'll save it. And I guess if I open P again, then now we can see it here. Say I want to copy some other block here. Let's press P. But yeah, I mean, we can bring this back up, I think. And then, you know, paste it on one of these blocks. Ta-da! Okay, so maybe you can see how that would be useful. The other thing that would make this useful, I'm pretty sure I can place that there. I can get the paintbrush, and then I can... Shouldn't I... Oh my god. Well, that's not exactly what I want. I seem to just totally replace that material with that. I thought that the paintbrush, you could draw on the surface of this, which would make it a lot easier. Replaces the targeted voxel with a material in your first hotbar slot. Also will change the material into a creative color block. Huh. I thought there was a draw mode. Maybe I need a more advanced tool for that. I do know the hand planer can be turned into the multigraph, which I think just combines all the tools that these would normally have. So it just takes up one inventory slot. Let's do that. Let's save ourselves some trouble. Ta-da, the multigraph. So now I think literally everything from before is available to us. Of course, we're going to have to select them individually. It's just, I was hoping I could make QP's chisel with steel, but we can't. Maybe there's a mod that fixes that, you know? Alright, I've gone back to the Bronze Age. I've cast 2 tin bronze ingots, because I actually don't have any iron on me. And this is basically how we're supposed to make QP's chisel, right? Which allows us to draw, and that's a technique I really would like to utilize in this build. You'll see what I mean, I think. Alright, first we chisel, then we pantograph. Let's chisel pantograph. Ta-da! Alright, we should be able to craft these together when they're still hot. Boom! What the heck? Look at that. That seems like a bug. That was odd. That was quite odd. When I clicked on that, I went to 899. Look at that! Yeah. The durability is 899 out of 900. I just took it. I mean, I might as well, but... Oh, god, mods. Chisel door tool. So... This allows you to create a custom door with an open and closed state. These doors have a nice animation, but you can like chisel what you want to be a door, and you can chisel the same version of that door open, and then you can use this tool to make a door out of it. So when you right click that new custom door, it will toggle between the closed and open states. I've seen people do it. I don't think that I need this. Like, I like the doors that we have offered to us just fine. Let's take a nap. Rain all the time. Okay, so we have this wall that obviously incorporates a lot of dry stone into the mud brick. See if we can do that same thing. Where do I have my other lantern? In a much more efficient way on this side. I actually should terraform this just a tiny bit. Just make life easier. Okay. So first, let's select a chisel block. I press F, normal chisel techniques available to us, but we also have draw mode and then flip textures. That's interesting. So draw mode is what I'm interested in. Hammer in the offhand, right click, now to chisel block. Let's add this new material, limestone, dry stone. Let's switch to draw mode 2x2. That is odd. Look at that. No matter what I switch to, it seems to only do 1 by 1. Oh, whatever. Sit down. This is our block to work with. I want to replace these bottom group of bricks. It's odd that it's not selecting the pixels correctly. You know what I mean? But it is replacing 2 by 2. Just not selecting it properly. Oops. We'll see, that'll happen. Can we undo? Nope. Can't undo. So that's confusing. It'd be nice if I could... yeah, whatever. We switch to 1 by 1. It still works. But as you can see, we can like just draw, and I don't have to chisel them out and then replace them with the new material, which is pretty nice, right? But it does not seem to consume any durability from the chisel either. It's also pretty nice. So look at that, we've replaced some of the bricks. Let's try it again, too. These are kind of hard changes to monitor. But yeah, there we go. I guess this is slightly easier, right? As long as I stick to the 1 by 1, it's not like confusing, so. It's actually kind of more difficult to tell what you're changing here because like the differences in the single pixel, the single little voxel is like really hard to make out, like individually, you know? Because the colors are so similar, it's only like when you back up and look at it, can you really tell what's different? Which makes this a lot more difficult than I'd like it to be. But yeah, maybe you guys get the picture. I think it might even be possible that I can just copy kind of some of these over here and transcribe them over there, right? Let's do that. Let's try that out. Using the new multigraph. So if we go to paste, shape, and material, now it's kind of hard to break out, to make out the individual blocks. You know what, this might not work. Let's try it though, I guess. Let's put it right here. Okay, and then we're gonna have to rotate it. Alright, not that direction. There we go. Okay, so there it is rotated, but I think there's kind of a problem here, and it's like the textures of that mud brick specifically, because each texture is a little bit different, you know? There's not a good chance you're gonna get the exact same texture that I just used from over here. So like it might not match up completely. It's not bad. I think I just got a lot of work to do when it comes to detailing this structure here. This is a little bit beside the point, but I was hunting for, oh, someone shot at me. I was hunting for the perfect wood type to go with the window frames I'm going to be constructing, right? I'm looking for birch. Birch is incredibly common in the north, but for whatever reason, I cannot find any for myself. So I've been looking around. I mean, the hunting's been good. Excuse me. Let me harvest these guys really quickly. I didn't expect to see them. Basically, I want a wood color that kind of well matches these limestone ashlar blocks. I thought bald cypress, that's the whitest wood that you can usually get. A close second, I guess, is larch, but birch is another one. It's a slightly off-white, so I wonder if that would match better. So I've just been looking for it. I don't even know if it's what I want to use, but I've just been looking. And I ran into this beautiful jungle, and then I saw a panda bear. There it is, look at that. So my first instinct when I see a panda bear is, can I kill it? Right? I don't really know how difficult they are to kill, how aggressive they are. Look, he stood up, I woke him up. How fast they are. Doesn't seem too aggressive. Maybe the handbook will help us. Panda bear male. No information. There's only one way to find out. Look, he's kind of stuck. Okay, that didn't really take very much. I want a panda bear hide. I want to hang it up in the castle. Boom. 11 raw bushmeat. Great. Man, these hogs are everywhere. Something that the next update is going to bring is new boar types. So I think there's going to be red river hogs, there's going to be great boars, large boars. I was just watching a video by Hardware Despair going over the new changes to berry bushes, which is also incredibly fascinating to me. With the new changes, you'll be able to propagate berry bushes instead of just picking them up and moving them around. So you have to get a cutting from the berry bush. You can only take one a year. You can fertilize it. It can have different states of roots, which will depend on how much it fruits at that moment in the year. It's going to be, I guess, closer to fruit trees, but maybe even more complex. Ow. Double teamed. I've wiped out like 4 families of pig in this forest. All this meat that I'm getting, oh my goodness gracious, nearly 2.5 stacks of red meat. I actually don't have a place to store it. That's going to be kind of an issue. Alright, I eventually found my birch. It was nothing spectacular. Currently, my most pressing issue is that I've actually got nowhere to store these animal products that I get. They're only good for a day, right? I put them in the chest. That doesn't make a difference. I need a cellar pretty badly. Everything I collect that just keeps rotting. So I've taken this chest. I'm pretty sure, alright, I'm pretty sure we can just bury it. So let me dig a little pit here. I want to make sure there's enough room for me to stand so I can check on it. So I think if I just bury myself and I put this in here, look at that, 5 days. Boom, 5 days, 4 days. Not bad. Now the hide's good for 18 days. That's perfect. Black currant's good for 6 days. So this is kind of just a temporary cellar, right? I've just kind of buried it in the ground. This dirt is insulative. And that's actually something people would do throughout histories. Sometimes they literally just bury the carcass of an animal to preserve it. Or whatever, bury a cache to prevent rot. So there you go, a little survival tip. Is another brief update. While it stopped raining, we have 0.17 days before it starts to rain again. But look at the view that we have here, man. When it's not raining, it's actually quite gorgeous. Now, I wish I could kind of turn up my render distance higher than this, but I worry about performance. You know what I mean? Our render distance is 512 blocks. I don't really know how big a chunk is here. Might run out of VRAM. Let's do it at 640. Alright. Let's see a few more trees. A few more trees. Seems fine for now. I mean, that really didn't increase too much. I hate to mess with it, though. Dang, look at the landscape, man. That's just huge rolling hills. Imagine how much you could build here, huh? Anyway, I think I need to knock it back down. Alright, phew. Anyway, I've been trying to decide what color wood trim I want for these windows. I want these ones to be a little bit simpler. And it's a difficult choice because there's so many wood types. It's kind of silly, maybe. I ended up running around and getting a lot of different types of wood just so I could compare and see how they looked. So like this one is maple. That one right there is bald cypress. That's the whitest wood we have available to us. That's birch. It kind of blends in, like you can't really see it. Up there is walnut. It's very gray. That is pine. It's the most saturated, I think, out of all of them. And then we have bald cypress again, because that's the one I was kind of leaning towards. I wanted to see or get an idea of how it would look. I think that bald cypress probably works the best for these. Like the birch is a nice looking color, but from a distance, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on with it. This one matches the trim the best. The only thing I think that would match better, as far as this ashlar trim goes, is larch. So as you can see, it's a little bit darker than the bald cypress. The redwood's too pink for my liking. I did chop down a redwood and try it out. It's too pink. I planted some larch. I brought some larch seeds with me when I came south, because I didn't think they would grow down here, and it seems like they don't. I planted them. It's going to take a while. We'll see, right? But for now, I'm going to go with bald cypress. Things get kind of funky when you try to remove beams that are attached to chiseled blocks. Since a chiseled block is like technically several sections of block, that's how the game stores it, it can become kind of complicated. And I guess the game has trouble with that. So in the next update, which I am repeatedly referencing, they're going to add a new tool called the crowbar. And the crowbar is supposed to be specifically meant for removing beams, like this. Dang it. It's supposed to make this whole tedious mess a lot easier. Oh yeah, I always forget that I'm holding the hammer. By the way, holding something in your offhand will actually increase your hunger rate, right? Now it's 100, now it's 200. So you really don't want to hold anything in your offhand unless you really need to. You know what I'm saying? Must be attached here. Oh. That's confusing. Okay, look, there's the bounding box for the beam. It's not always straightforward where it's attached to. Sometimes you just have to break the block. These windows are a strange dimension. So if you look at that, I don't know what you would call this. I think it's like a block and a quarter wide, and then it's 2.5 blocks tall, so it's an interesting dimension. But again, that's not a size you can normally achieve in Minecraft. You can't make windows any size you could possibly want. It's pretty cool. Alright, I need to do something else besides compare and contrast window designs for now. Let's take a break. Let's replant our crops here. Thankfully, we're doing pretty good on crops. We're gonna always need to grow flax. Let's do flax. Soybeans are good to have. Let's do cabbages. It's a premier vegetable. And then let's see, do I have much rice? I have 14 rice seeds. That's a premier grain. Forgot to harvest these ones. Oops. Alright, so first, flax seeds, which require potassium. This soil back here has got pretty good potassium, seems like. I'm gonna plant as much of this as I can. Okay, that entire side is flax. Crop rotation is very important because I think I grew flax here last time. You can see the potassium is very low in this soil. Right, so it's going to grow a lot slower. Soybean also takes potassium. Look at that, I kind of drained all the potassium out of these crops, except for there's a narrow window which has some pretty decent potassium. Here, here, here. 65%. Not bad. I have a feeling that's also what rice takes. Yep. This could be a bit of a mixed crop, so I don't want to plant it anywhere that'll be lower than 50%. Like here, oh, 31, 32, it's not high enough. Oh, cabbage requires nitrogen. We've got high nitrogen all the way back here. Acceptable nitrogen. All in the front. And there we go. Last thing we got to do is just water it. So I've got water sources up here that mostly irrigates it. I think that farmland next to water will never go below 75%. And then as you get further away, it'll drop by 25%, right? So this is 50. And I have these kind of spread out in a way that it should never really get below 50, but there's no water sources over here, and so it stays at 25, which is very low. I couldn't really fit them in the ends. So these ones in the back require constant watering. Now in the past, I actually tried just removing the glass up here and then letting it rain fall down and water the crops themselves. But it would only water some of the crops, it wouldn't water the crops underneath these beams, and also the support beams seem to block the rain a little bit. I did try, it just didn't seem to work. Well anyway, I always forget to ask, but if you like my more relaxed playthroughs, I don't think they're supercharged or super overstimulating, you know? Subscribing helps a lot if you'd like to subscribe. I think they changed how they do the subscription list recently, but I'm pretty sure it still helps. So if you would like to subscribe, it helps me a lot. I would appreciate it. There we go. Freshly planted crops. I just came over here and peeked inside of my pit that I've been holding all my animals in, and look, all the little ones are dead. It looks partially charred, perhaps due to a lightning strike. These guys got struck by lightning. I was so paranoid about the lightning because it's just constantly storming over here that I put this big roof. But apparently that wasn't enough somehow. They still got struck. The larger ones lived, but like all the rabbits, all the chickens are dead. I've heard of that happening. That's why I put this here. You know, that's crazy. That's insane. Oh my god, it's hailing. What the heck? It's just one disaster after another. This has never happened to me. I've seen some like YouTubers have this happen, but I thought it was a mod. It's literally hailing right now. So now I'm stuck inside. Guess let me water the plants. That is crazy. I had no idea that was possible. Hail. Look at that, huh? If you look out there, I expanded the roof there, so hopefully that prevents lightning from getting in. I guess I don't know how lightning in this game works. Maybe the roof needs to be, like, thicker. That's the thing about keeping your animals outside, I guess. That's kind of a benefit of moving in that direction, over in that hill over there, ouch, is that it rains slightly less over there. I think I was muted the whole time. That's not good. Why does this happen to me? Why does this happen? Every time I try to put cobblestone into these blocks, it like disappears. Let's try this out, okay? We can place it with the chisel just fine. Will it work now because of relogged? I've set this to remove a 1 voxel plane of connected material. Okay, seems to work now. So relogging seemed to fix that, I guess. Just kind of a strange bug. I don't even know if I'm really, like, describing it correctly to you guys. Throughout my time playing Minecraft, I've always been hesitant to install mods. This is part of the reason. They just never seem to have the same consistency or support. That's not to say that, you know, the main game doesn't have bugs, but like, so all these tools, you know, they're not working properly, they're breaking things. It can be kind of frustrating, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. Never been a big modder. It makes me worried about trying other mods as well. Okay, so here's the question. Okay. Seems to have worked that time. Okay. So if you've noticed, this is kind of a thing I've done. I've actually pushed the material of the brick just a block back, and it's to kind of highlight some of the trim here. I also think it'll be nice to highlight some of the windows I'm going to put on here, make them look nice. But yes, this is the entrance. I think it looks good. Now what I want to get is a special door for the center. So let's look at our door options. Pretty sure we can do a 4 tall. Can we only do a 3 tall door? Oh, that's a problem. We can make this here a 2x4 gate, which would fit right in this slot. I also want to do that for the entrance here, but I want to have maybe a bald cypress one I think would look good here, or a birch. A birch one might look pretty nice. Overall, I just have a lot more detailing to do here. Alright, now for a bit of a fun challenge I've got to figure out. So I've mocked up some windows on this side. I think that these look pretty good. They have a little extra detail in them that I guess you can't really see at a distance. But I think these windows are pretty nice. I think it's a nice window shape. And I want to see if I can get these windows, or at least one of them, right here. You may notice there's a little bit of an issue, right? I want it to be perfectly centered, and there's kind of an issue with that. This window is 1 block wide, and then these blocks act as borders. So how could I do that here? You know, it'll be off center. I want it to be center. Well, I think that there's a creative solution. I think we can center this using all the functionality of the multi-graph. First thing I'm going to do, though, before I do any of that, I actually mirrored these windows on the opposite side because I'm not really sure how the interior is going to look yet. The first thing I'm going to do is build the inner frame, like the actual glass part. Obviously, I shouldn't be able to just jump through these. That's a security risk. Let's add maple slab and glass. So what I'm going to do first, fill this in with glass. The glass is basically invisible. Now, if I use something like quartz glass, it might look better, only because it's slightly cloudy. You know what I mean? It might be worth it to do that. But there we go. You can maybe just barely see. We have one layer of window here. I'm pretty sure that I can... No, that didn't quite do it. I was hoping I could copy the whole thing up. I guess I'll have to be separate, like this. One layer at a time. Oops. Okay, that's that. This might start to get a little bit tricky. So there's actually no block in the center here, so I'm going to take this glass block and I'm going to start shaving it off. When the glass block turns from a block into a chiselable form, it takes on a new texture. Just this, you know. I guess I'm going to have to get to the other side. Bet you I can use QP's chisel to just draw the maple in here. There is a mirroring function that you can use in the multi-graph. It's this mirror shape thing. It takes one side and then mirrors it to the other specifically, and it depends on which side you're looking at. So if I want to actually mirror all the maple on this side to the other side, I'm going to have to break this block. And then I've got to right-click the side that I want to be mirrored. So it'll go from the left to the right, like this. See, it's very specific. There we go. Perfect. And now that I've got that specially set up, I can just paste shape and material, left-click, then right-click that, and then boom. Now this next part might be a little challenging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the rough shape of the interior stuff here. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Oop. I am getting the hang of this. I feel like I am. It's just a huge learning curve. It's just different, you know? I can't just continue the maple from here because that's technically a separate block. This section here is another block. I have to add off of that. So let's make a little bit of a bridge. And then destroy it. That looks good enough. Okay, let's mirror that. And I can actually look on this side now. Nice. Gotta add glass to it. Now we can fill it up just like this. And then let's mirror it again. Ta-da! Alright, how does it look? Not bad, not bad. Maybe a little bad. Hold on. It looks a little different than I kind of anticipated. Let's make this a little bit nicer. Alright, mirror. Is that better? That is better, I think. I think I could even just potentially turn this upper part into like a circle. You know what I'm saying? Like this. Like that, maybe. That's better. That's better. You know what? The only thing I think is missing is actually the bottom part. It's different. You know, maybe it's too tall. Hard to say. But it's not so bad, I guess. How does it look when I do something like that? Feel like I like that better. You know what I'm saying? It's so cool that the God rays still can kind of come through. Just want to move it a little bit down. That's better. I think that's better. I like that. Calling that a win. A window. Alright, the next challenge is to take this. This is very complicated. Buddy's yelling in the windows. Oh yeah, if you noticed, he shed his antlers at some point. It'd be nice to have kept them. So here's my plan for this. I was going to come over here and mirror that on this side, but you know what? It kind of looks good like that. I'm going to leave it. Anyway, first I want to figure out how many voxels wide the space in between here is. This is 16 because it's a whole block wide. But over here, just a half block. So I think to get this whole window centered, we're going to have to move it to the left by 4. So I guess let me start by copying this. Oh god, this is going to be tough. Let's rotate it. There we go. Oh god. Okay. I almost wonder if it would be better to like reconstruct the whole thing on the ground, but I want to see if I can do it like this. Okay. So we had to push the voxels in a clicked direction. That was about 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. At the same time, the right side of the frame has to be moved to the left 4 voxels. If you notice, this trim is actually 4 voxels wide. So I think that it follows we can copy that, paste that there, turn it around, and then push it like literally all the way to the edge. 2 more. Okay, so there we go. Look, it is perfectly centered between these 2 things, but it's not centered on the block. And that is just so confusing, but it's working. You know what I mean? It's working. Our next kind of pain is this block. But I think that I can copy that, push it, and then mirror it to fix any holes. So let's copy. Oh, wait. Yeah. There's an issue here. This is already in the block. Here's what I'm going to do. Copy. We're going to hit P. And then I am going to save this shape. Just call it window right frame for now. So now that's there. Now let's go here. Paste it. Rotate it. This is already going to get a little bit confusing. So we have that shape. Then we've got to push it 4 blocks that way. That destroyed everything under here because that's a new block. Oh, brother. Okay, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hit P. We're going to select this. And then I think we can actually merge shapes. So, oof, that is the wrong material. Let's undo that. Maybe if we select the limestone slab? Huh, no. That pasted it in wood. It can't be paste shape of material. Yeah, but look at that. It seems like merging the shape just doesn't really get the material that I want. That's if I copy it from the portfolio. So what happens if I do this, for example? This might be kind of a petty way to do it. Let's put it onto here. Let's rotate and push it. So if I switch to merge shapes, now I've got it physically and it's the right material. Left click. Then, dang, it still does it in that material. What? I wonder why it insists on that. This just might not be in the cards. You know what I mean? What if we did this? Copy that. Look at that, it just kept it all limestone ashlar. Actually, no, it didn't. Look, it kept it as bricks and the polished. Maybe what I've got to do is paste material. There's 2 materials in this. What happens if I... Okay, that's not quite what I expected. I'm just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. This seems like the best I can get right now. How convoluted. While I've been slowly chipping away at my new castle, I've actually gone through 3 temporal storms. And I'm about to go through another one. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, while I'm stuck inside the house, I might as well do a little bit of smithing. And create some nails and strips so I can get the gates going. There we go. At least they don't bother the elk. You can see the Thunderlord very well from here. Well, what could that be? Okay, I finally got this window finished. I think it looks great. Not only did I get this one finished, but I also did this one over here using the mirroring tool, which made it very easy to do. So it took a little bit of reconstruction, but generally if I did not have the QP's chisel tool mod, I would have had to do this entire thing over from scratch, and it was way quicker to do it this way with the use of the mod. So I am grateful for that. And I also did this wall up completely. So I think this looks fantastic. So I don't know if this qualifies as lattice work, but I put a little bit of a border here, and then I put, what are these called? Supports underneath the borders, and then I decided I'll put little loops here. It's kind of difficult to see, like the actual detail from far away, but this is what I ended up doing. I think it's pretty cool. And then I repeated that same thing up there, but I made the support a little bit bigger. I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, so I made it a little bit thicker because that's in the center of the block, and this is at the top edge of the block. So I wanted it to be like a little bit more even. And I think it looks really cool. And then I created these here for the roof, which we're going to get to hopefully soon. Overall, the build is really coming together. Ouch. It's really coming together in a nice way. But technically these blocks here, they're slabs, but they're in the center of the block. So they're vertical centered slabs. You know, I realize that this contains the exact amount of material to make this thin wall that I've been doing here. So it fits. Maybe you can kind of see the vision here. I think it's really coming together. All I've got to do for now is kind of finish mocking over these windows on this side. So let's do that. There's crazy storms all over southern Michigan last night. Crazy thunderstorms, huge fronts. There was 3 tornadoes across lower Michigan. Thankfully, none of them were really near me, but it does happen over here where I live. Yeah, that storm was heavy. Some of my neighbors had their like driveways totally washed out at the ends. I was out this morning, I was just petting my dog, and then I heard cracking, and I thought, is that someone coming down the gravel driveway? And I turn around, and this huge tree branch, massive tree branch was just splintering, and then it just fell and hit a bunch of other branches and splintered into a million pieces. If I had to guess, that branch on that tree was mostly dead already, but it became waterlogged as well from the heavy storms, and that just made the weight unbearable. It was really cool to see that, actually. I've learned something, I think, about using this mod, and that is the kind of parent block that you use, like what you start with when you start chiseling. I think it's important to keep that consistent when you're copying over designs. Otherwise, you get screwed up. Another thing that happened, though, is that because it rains so much, it's really humid, and it's also very warm now. So, like, that spring air is in full force. So when I first went outside this morning, you could really feel the change in the seasons, which I love. Muddy and rainy as it is, I still love it. No, that's not what we want to do. This multigraph does not require the hammer and the offhand, but this chisel does. Another cool thing that happened is that the trailer for Vintage Story 1.22 dropped, and I am blown away. It is a 9-minute feature trailer, and I've kind of been talking about them on and off throughout the video, the new stuff that's being added that I know about, but so much stuff is being incorporated. It's insane. I'm very happy. I'm very excited to see what's new. It's also got me kind of wondering, oops, if I should start a new world, you know what I mean? I don't feel... Vintage Story is one of those games where, like, it's compound interest. Just like Minecraft in a way. The more time you spend at it, the rewards return more. Like, you have cooler and cooler builds, better infrastructure, that kind of thing. But at the same time, the early game progression of Vintage Story is very, very fun. Like, it's one of my favorite things about the game I've realized. Like the caveman progression, you know? That's awesome. I love that. So maybe it would be good to start over, especially in a new world, maybe new terrain generation, and like make use of the newer features and stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Been thinking about it. 2 beautiful windows. Gorgeous windows, oh yes. Very different from these. I realize that I've kind of forgotten something that I could have made use of, and that is these leaded window panes. You can make them out of any type of wood, but the actual pane itself has this kind of cross hatching pattern on it, and it is like the only true window pane that you can natively craft in this game. It requires a bar of lead, right? Which is interesting. You need lead to make these really cool window panes instead of like a solid block of glass. It's kind of interesting that you can just get a perfect block of glass just from throwing it in the furnace. I feel like that'll probably be expanded upon at some point. But I would like to use these in another part of the structure. You'll, I think, soon see what that is. My only problem thus far is going to be when I expand the top of this building. You'll see what I mean in a little bit, I guess. That, I believe the next thing would be copying these over. Parent block for that is the first one listed in this menu. That's limestone ashlar blocks. Copy that. Copy that. Roger, roger. Not enough materials to paste. What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing slabs of these. Okay. There we go. Let's rotate this so facing the correct side. I'm just going to copy it again. Not bad. Beautiful, gorgeous, love it. I like that grass still seems to at least grow underneath these. There is kind of the issue with the lighting error though, when you're using the multigraph to copy designs around. So like it's unreasonably dark here. But if I update that with the normal chisel, it seems to fix this. But as you can see, like there's little lighting errors and I'm fixing by just like tampering with it a little bit. But it has to be with a normal chisel. I did look for other like extension mods for QP's chisels. I did not find any. Like I didn't really find support for the Meteoric Steel mod, for example, for QP's chisel tools, but I think it's okay. Like you don't really need it that badly. Look how different that is when I update the lighting. It is a little bit tedious that I have to go and like update every single block, but it's a small price to pay for the efficiency that you get from the mod. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not too upset about it. Let me give you an overview of what comes next here. So once I kind of finish this building, I also want to add a beautiful big window right there, a big one, just like that. Once I finish with this, I actually want to get started on this diagonal tower, which we're going to have to mock up with our materials first before we actually start and chiseling it and stuff to get that perfect diagonal shape. And then once I get the basic structure for that, Then I want to do these towers, which are going to be circular towers. The gatehouse, this is the largest circular tower. I think this one might have a windmill attached to it. That'll be cool. We're going to do the gatehouse, and then we're going to do the walls. I have an idea for the wall designs. These are going to be a really interesting angle because they're not 45 degrees. They're like 22.5 degrees. I think I mentioned that earlier. Some of them are 45, some of them are a little bit different. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But that's kind of the plan. How beautiful of a view is this? How beautiful of a backdrop is this? You guys, you're just going to keep watching and you're going to see this thing done eventually. But like for me, right now, I have to look at this and imagine how it's going to turn out. And I'm already very excited. I wasn't sure at first, you know, I was throwing this together, I was kind of like skeptical, but I think it's turning out pretty well. Sun's coming up. I just copy pasted these two windows, so let's see if I can get that giant big window here that I was talking about. So I think that mainly I'm going to copy the design from down there. As far as the arch goes, it's a nice looking arch. But I'm not going to have the cobblestone, obviously, so let's just see what we can do about that. The parent material for this is limestone ashlar block. Okay. Let's make some more of those. Inconveniently, I'm running out of material to work with. Like, to get these ashlar blocks, you need stone, limestone rock. That took a very long time to obtain. I did that outside the video, you know, I didn't want to bore you guys. But yeah, it took a very long time to do that. Copy that. Then we're going to do that 4 times. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not enough materials to paste. Maybe it's got to be this one instead? I wouldn't have thought that, but I don't know. Maybe it does. No, that didn't seem to have done it. I have a theory that these have to be like this. Yep. Because that's kind of how I started when I first laid it out. Just odd. Some things I don't understand still about this mod. Missing material again? What do you mean not enough materials to paste? Oh, this is a chiseled block. Yeah, once it turns into a chiseled block, I think it doesn't really recognize it the same way. Gotta make more of these, I guess. There we go. Now, because we have so much room to work with, either I make this window exceptionally tall, or I cap it off with an arch right here, and then above it I have a small circular window. I think that might be preferable. I think I should do that. Yeah, so let's copy the arch from down there. Just realized, yeah, this one's slightly different, isn't it? Ah, ladders are tricky. It's like they're made of ice. There we go. What does that mean? Up, free. It's like I have to guess what the orientation of these blocks is meant to be. And if I guess wrong, well then, congratulations, I've just wasted it. At least I can reuse these, to some extent. Stone brick slab, limestone, up, free. Because there's not like an F3 menu that I know of, it's like there's no way I can guess what that means. Does this mean up? Or is it upside down it needs to be? Like this. Yep, that was the way to do it. So here's what I think I could do for these inner sides. I don't really want to use the cobblestone, so I'm just going to paste the shape only. See if we can get away with that. Okay, cool. There we go. Then the last bits are these. Nice. Again, we're missing material. We're running very close to being empty. That pasted the cobblestone, but I can get rid of it. That would actually be the next step. And then this is all the same material, but I think if I just erase it up to here and extend it back, there you go. And there we have some kind of arch. It's just gonna be tough to kind of get an idea of what this is meant to look like with all this scaffolding here. I guess I'll tear it down. That's what that looks like. Not bad. I don't think it's very bad at all. Here's what I think. All right. First, let's place those. At least I have a use for this one. Now we've got a window. I think I want to take maple slabs and then portion this up into 3 window sections. So let's try that out. Add maple slabs to all of these. Alright. Why isn't it adding? Oh wait, I'm rotating it. Oops. The question is, how wide can we get away with these being? If we want 3, for example. This is a 4-block wide space. I want 3 separate window panes in a way. I don't mind if the frames are a little thicker. Say the frames are 4 blocks wide. We're gonna need 2 more of those. This is a 64 voxels. 16 is 48, leaving us with 48 bits of room. So that means that each window should be 24 voxels wide. So let's count. There's 4 here. 16 left in this block, means 12. And then, I don't think I did that correctly. I think it's actually got to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm starving to death. Hold on, but that's the perfect width. Although, to be honest, I don't actually mind if, like, these ones on the edges are smaller. I'll have to figure it out. We got to get some food, though, in our bellies quick. Why did I say bellies? Bellies plural? I don't know. I just cooked some food earlier. There we go. By the way, this larch tree grew, and it is very small. I wonder if the size of these trees depends on the climate, like the way that these trees seem to grow. My northern trees have grown kind of poorly in these warm, wet conditions. It's actually June right now. June year 4. I was surprised that it was this late into the year now. I'm pretty sure I started the video in winter. Well, anyway, let me grab my shears so we can get a higher drop chance of larch seeds. There we go. They gave us 2 large seeds and literally 2 large logs. That was all we got from that. Yeesh. By the way, this ebony sapling takes 54 days to grow. That is insane. I don't even remember when I planted that either. It's like I try to cut them down as soon as I possibly can so I can get to replanting. But yeah, we got 2 large logs. I'm just kind of curious how that'll look at our castle over there, which is looking really cool from here, by the way. Remember when I said earlier that it was an off-white that I liked? I want to see how that compares on the window trim. Although at this point, larch is so ridiculously impractical to get that it would be kind of foolish to use that. It grows horrible down here. You know, you only get 2 logs, apparently. How much of this can we even make? Got to debark it first. Get 2. And split it up with a saw. It gives us 6 support beams. That is hardly anything. There's the color of it. It looks kind of pink to me. Well, that's hard to tell. I haven't made a window out of it yet. It's a nice color, but I don't think it matches. I think that the bald cypress is still the way to go, as it happens. That reminds me, the other thing that I wanted to get in here was the door. And I crafted a bunch of nails and strips, so we have enough to do the door, and I'm pretty satisfied with using maple as the wood for that, because that's what we have for These windows, you know, that fits just fine. What's our crafting recipe? Look at all the stuff we can make with maple. Anyway, 2x4 gate. That's expensive. We have enough? We do. Perfect amount. We can make a 2x4 gate. Uh-oh. Look how big the item is. There we go. Ooh. At least the door, this thing, I don't think that's meant to be a handle. I think that's meant to be something you put like a piece of wood in to like bar the gates if you have a matching one. But it works well enough as a handle for this structure, right? How cool. Gigantic door. Huge door. I wonder if it'd be worth shaving down the cobblestone here even more. Doesn't hurt. So it matches a little bit better. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Very cool. Anyway, I was working on these, and what I had said before was that I think that I'd like the center window to be larger. Let's put a torch here for when it gets dark. So I'm going to do this. That's not so bad. And then I guess the idea is we just keep working on that. Oop, I like that. Same on this side. Except flipped. And the center. I'm placing it flat like this so I can keep track of the placement later. This is honestly probably a little easier just to do it like that. Oh, oops. Ah, okay. I didn't take any damage from that. You know, I think I've noticed something. I'm not sure how true this is, but I feel like if I land from a great height inside of a chiseled block, I don't take damage. So like I fell from here, I landed here inside, you know, this one technically. So I didn't take any damage. I think that's what's been happening. We've got our 3 windows. Now we're kind of coming up on a trickier part here. How to incorporate the top loop into this. Gonna have to be very careful. Actually, I need more maple. I'm sure I've got some. I'm sure my elk has some. Yep. I feel drifters. Sheesh. Alright, let's incorporate some maple slab into this. Using both these tools, I'm going to follow the kind of contours of this thing. Oh, crap. That's kind of the shape that it gives us. Okay, that's as high as we can go within that block, so let me first copy that, paste it like this. Alright, there we go. That's as far over as we can go with that one. I can hear a boat torn targeting me. Ow. Ow. Come on, man. Oh, I hear another one. Ah. Okay, we gotta go. We gotta go, we gotta go. Anyway. This is the window, the finished window. I ended up going just a little bit overboard with some of the chisel work, but I think it looks awesome. I like this kind of pillar pattern that I have going on here. I put some circles in there because I don't really know what else to do with it without making it look overboard. And of course, the inside, it didn't exactly turn out the way that I was picturing it, but it's good enough. I think that's fine, you know? And up there, you can just kind of barely see the circle. And then another thing that I did is I shaved a half of these all off, so now that's diagonal. Alright, let me get down from here so you can get a better look at it. Ta-da! I mean, I think that looks cool. I think it looks cool. It's a little again, it's a little different than I was expecting. Maybe it would have been better if I had a tall window there. I'm gonna fill the rest of this in, probably just with bricks, and maybe I'll detail that a little bit, but I think it's good. My main issue with that is that I'm actually totally out. I mean, this is all the ashlar blocks I have left. It's these 3. So yeah, I need a lot more. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab Elkram, then we're going to pick up some supplies. Another large tree grew. It was actually somewhat sizable, but I don't have anywhere to put it. Grab a spare pickaxe. Go into the emergency cellar. I have some food I prepared in here. Oh, this old one back. Imagine 10 years from now, Vintage Story adds cleaning. You know, you gotta clean your dishes. Otherwise, you could get bacterial infections or something. I don't know. You could have bacteria build up in your pots. That would be... At what point is it too much? You know, I don't know. Anyway, here we go. I've actually gotta come around the shore of this thing. What might be cool around this lake is a huge bridge, but the lake's just maybe not wide enough to justify such a thing. I really hope the rivers are incorporated someday. I heard that the devs are having trouble figuring it out. I was looking at terrain generation mods, actually, for 122, seeing like what's out there. There's plains and valleys, which some of you probably heard of. There's plateaus and something or other. Plateaus and mesas, I think it is. I think there's Conquest Reforged, which is a texture pack for Minecraft. It's been ported over to Vintage Story, but it's also has a bunch of like terrain generation overhaul mods. I saw some other ones that added like really more realistic waterfalls, which was cool. So I really would like rivers, you know? Because imagine what kind of new like mechanics rivers in your world would add. Think about it. If you had rushing rivers, you don't want to step into those. You can't just jump into it. It could be dangerous, you know, you could get hypothermic from the cold, you could be swept away. So it becomes like imperative to build a bridge of some kind over it. You know what I mean? I guess you could just like pillar it across it with dirt. But if you had like soil instability, maybe that wouldn't be practical. I don't know. I think I overshot a little bit. How would you incentivize the player to build like trusses and arches on your bridge, you know, instead of just a pillar? A 1 block wide bridge. Anyway, this is where I dug most of the limestone. You see, I've got this pattern here. Remember from earlier in the video, you break rocks in a certain pattern. If you free a rock from all sides, it'll pop loose. So there's an efficient way to do it. It's this way. Look, there's some bamboo. There's an entire hill here. I knocked it down just to dig all this crap out. It means I gotta get back after it, because we really need a lot more of this. A lot more. Okay, and then when I come by and mine in this pattern, it's like a zipper, you know? And we have 6 rocks, 1 pass. Coincidentally, I found a lot of malachite underneath here. What? Hey! That freaked me out. At the moment, malachite doesn't have a purpose. It's just another form of copper. But it has the green pigment, I guess, you can use to write on signs and stuff. It'd be interesting if it could be put to better use than just that. But I don't really know if the devs have anything in mind for that. Look at the pattern this makes on the map. Hey, bro. I think they're coming from up there. Good grief. Hold on, let's see if I can just mob-proof it really quickly. Are they mobs? Are they really mobs? Mob is short for mobile, but nobody says mobile. They just say mob. Okay, cool. Maybe this will keep me safe. He's hungry. It hath been done, my lord. Look at this. It's finished on the outside anyways. This is turned out to be a very, very detailed build. I put little donuts on the underside of that because I thought I needed a little something. I think the little donuts look kind of cool. And then for the roof, thankfully, figuring out what I wanted for that didn't take very long. I'm like, I think walnut roof would look good here. And it does. It looks great. So that's all I need. Actually matches very, very well. This ended up looking like more Roman or like a courthouse or something. A lot of work for a little build. I think something that I've learned here is that I'm maybe not good with builds that are actually multiple different style buildings, I suppose, kind of mashed into one. Like, that looks good on its own. This looks really good on its own. Together, they're kind of strange, you know? Like, they're very different structures. Of course, I still have a lot more to go. I've got to do the towers. I got to do the freaking walls. So right here, I started working on a gradient for the tower. And I think that this actually looks quite good. We start with limestone cobblestone, we move into gravelly, then we get into limestone sand, and then we go into literal limestone rock, and then I put a polished and a brick up there just to see how those would kind of look in there. Maybe I could have spatterings of that randomly throughout the structure. But the only thing that I think needs to change is that it should be stretched out, because I want this tower to be quite tall. And I don't want it to transition to stone and then just kind of stick with stone the whole way. I think it would be neater if that was a little bit stretched. But it's just proof of concept. I think it looks quite good. I've also kind of built the stone in a way that it will hopefully pop free once I tear this wall down. You know what? I should take a screenshot of it. Well, no, it's not a good time of day to take a screenshot, is it? Whatever. Will it break free? Yes. Nice. All part of the plan. I'm a little, just tiny bit curious what it would look like if I, since these walls are mostly like falling blocks, if I collapse them. Oh no! I'm not sure I got all that back, but gosh, is it dusty. It's just kind of fun to watch. Instant demolition. Once these become chiseled blocks, they should not be affected by gravity. But how dangerous. Imagine if you had a sideways soil instability on when you're building something like this. You could never do it. You just could never do it. You'd have to chisel every single block beforehand, break it, and then move it into the wall, maybe. Ouch. Rest of it fell down here. I'm sure some of it fell into this cave. Yeah, I'm missing 2 gravel. Some of it probably fell down here. Oh look, there's one. Oh no, that's cob. Kind of curious what's at the bottom of this. Ooh, black coal. Nice. What a find. Oh look, there's our gravel. Love ladder functionality. What a nice find, man. Ooh, fire clay. Yeah, occasionally fire clay can generate underneath black coal. I've seen it happen a few times. It's not every time. And look at that. Sulfur. I remember where my old base was in this world, which was very far away. I had such a hard time finding sulfur. That took a long time to get my hands on. I found it, so much of it, since I've been south. This is a good find. I don't really need to fill up on black coal right now. Ooh. Wait. Wait. I know where this is. Yeah, I've been here. Look, there's a ladder. This is a cave I've been through many times. In my last video, I went through here and cleared it out of locusts. Yep, there's the sky. I mean, it makes sense. Still, it was nice to find that ore pocket. Ooh, creepy. I'm just cooking some quick lime at my base for the next kind of installment or phase of the build, and I keep walking past this armor here that's all shredded up. It's tailored gamboizond armor, I think how it's pronounced. I'm not totally sure. I used to wear this. This is what I wore on the way down here, and it's obviously ripped to pieces. The reason it's so destroyed, which I did not record, is because I went to the Lazaret. It's an important lore location in Vintage Story. You go there to learn about the next parts of the story behind the game and everything, and then it leads you to other stuff. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I actually did the whole thing in a live stream, just like I did with the Resonance Archive. So if you guys want to watch that, it was pretty fun. There should be a card popping up right around here. Limestone gravel is kind of a specific block, considering how rare limestone already is. So you might be wondering, where do I find something like that? The answer is southeast of here. There's a desert that generates a lot of it, but it's usually buried under 2 layers of sand, making it kind of difficult to mine. Now, I'm sure it's possible for just a gravel area of limestone to generate, but I have yet to see that. I think I could turn... Yeah, look at that, I can just turn the minimap off. Huh. Look at that view that I have here. This kind of view that I have with the minimap off is really different. I mean, I understand that you can just hit F4 and hide everything, but like for actual gameplay purposes, you can just turn that off and suddenly, it's like the difference between wearing a ball cap and not wearing one. You know what I mean? It feels weird. I also feel kind of blind without it. Oh, what the heck? Look at that, it's on the left. Huh. I'm holding control. I mean, I'm just used to it being up there. Alright, there we go. I feel like I'll never be able to know everything about this game. We're getting close. There's some limestone there. And... Ah, okay. Just limestone sand, no limestone gravel. Look at that bauxite. Dang, dude. Hey, wait, I think I see some. There it is. Look, just barely. There's gravel. Sometimes gravel can be found 2 blocks below sand. Oh, excuse me. God, hyenas are like worse wolves. Jeez. I wonder if down here we'll have the same results. Nope, just dirt. What about here? Nope, it's just rock. When I got I only had 1 stack of limestone gravel in the past. It was just off of a cliffside. And as you can see, it's really difficult to mine that way. Now I could spend the extra time shaving off the limestone sand, and I'll probably put it to use. But I mean, that's just 3 times as many blocks being mined as you'd want. I guess I don't have a choice though. $16. Yeah, this is kind of our only option, unless I can get like a gravel desert somewhere. But I have not found one. I was gonna climb up here to get a good view. Oh, but look at that. Yeah, beautiful, wonderful. There we go. Yeah, I don't know, I can't see anything. And then it's just forest all around here, so... It's like if I were to have luck anywhere, it would be in this direction, I think. There's some gravel. This is the kind of generation I really don't want. Ugh. I'm really locked in here. Come on, come on. You can do it. Aha. Haha. Oh no, it turns into sandstone over here. That's not good. But there's a silver barrel cactus. I think that's what it's called. Oh, look at this. The gravel here is only 1 block below the sand. Oh, sorry. That's not too bad. There's not much of it, though. And then, looks like sandstone desert as far as the eye can see. No such luck. Hello, everybody. According to the command, when will it stop raining? It's going to rain for 4.25 days, nearly. So, I'm not going to be able to really show you a great view of this, but I've just kind of been stacking and running back and forth and getting materials because I never seem to get enough. Each layer of this, I've just recently calculated, is 40 blocks, which is a lot, I guess, anyway. So, I finished, I guess, the gradient. I really don't know how tall this thing is going to be. That's kind of my problem, because I don't know exactly how tall it's going to be before the top starts. I have to compare it to, like, these over here. And I wanted to have the base of this finished before I do anything with the roof of this structure. A lot of unfinished stuff happening here. I think I've sunk like 25 or 30 hours into this. I don't know, it's a long time. Basically have 1, 2, 3, 4 walls and a diagonal cube, diagonal rectangle. So yeah, game's very time consuming, but it's very rewarding. I'll be happy to have it finished. This is a lot more gradual than I was hoping for. I kind of liked that the other one was a little bit less gradual, but whatever. I mean, I don't really feel like redoing it. I think it's actually probably fine. Reason being, once I smooth all this out, be perfectly diagonal, it's going to look like that. It's going to have a million ridges on it, and suddenly it'll be kind of hard to make out textures individually. Now you may be wondering, am I going to doctor up these textures the same way that I doctored up the kind of textures of this building? I am going to try maybe a little bit. The thing is that I did this one, and the payoff was so little. Because these windows are here now, I'm realizing like you can't even really notice if there's anything different about this building, especially when you're kind of looking at it from here. You can't even really notice. Maybe if I put something here, like I moved more of this up, you know, you might be able to see it, but like the payoff was very, very little and it was way too much work. So I don't want to mess with it too much. I don't want to get too fine with the details. What I think I'm going to do is only break it up into quarter or I guess 1/8 blocks. Let me show you what I'm thinking here. So I've just turned this into a chisel block. I'm going to break it like this. And then this is Q-piece chisel. This allows for drawing. So let's say, I don't know, I want to put limestone in here for some reason. Drag some limestone in. I should be able to just kind of like do that. Now I had originally thought, okay, that when I got this to be the perfect pitch that I wanted it to be, that you could use Q-piece chisel as a brush and just kind of draw over it and it would color in the right voxels. Well, actually, when I do draw mode on this thing, it actually just fills, you know, it literally replaces that section. It doesn't paint over it. So it's almost like it would be smart if I went through and turned all these into chisel blocks, took out the outermost corner like this, and then I go and paint them Q-piece chisel, which this is really kind of an expensive way to do it. I don't even know if it's worth it, to be honest with you. Maybe I need to mix slabs into it, like I was doing before. At that level of detailing, it's like the payoff just isn't worth it, because you're just not going to notice. Maybe. I don't really know. I don't mind going around and touching it up, but like once you get up there, that's kind of like, geez. So I could use it to ease this gradient a little bit. Say I took this sand, and then I put a little bit of gravel into it. Boom. There you go. Now it's just a little bit of sand. Anyway, let me actually finish this one up. Unhook the mouse. Got this side. And there you go. There's your diagonal block. Okay, so you see what I mean? It does look a little bit strange, but I guess from a distance it's not so bad. But like head on, like this, when there's clearly shadows, then it becomes a little weird looking. It's like those little graphics you had as a kid, whereas if you looked at them from different sides, it makes it look like the picture's moving. You know what I'm talking about? There's an airplane. I don't know if you can hear it. I have my window open because the weather's so nice. I'm not going to close it. I don't care. Oh, I forgot that these pasting seems to bring lighting errors. Yeah, look at that. I wonder if just a regular day-night cycle fixes the lighting errors. That is annoying. Clearly this is kind of necessary though, because all these seem to have weird shadows. I agree. But yeah, just imagine the whole thing like that. Oh god, that's kind of an ordeal. I really need to get a cushion for my wrists or something. I can definitely feel the impact on my nerves. Another thing I wanted to do, since we're on the topic of chiseling, not like we haven't been on that topic the whole video. I saw in someone else's build recently these beautiful like sconces, or these hanging things for lanterns. And I thought that that would be just beautiful on a build like this. So my thought is chisel this, and then have like beautiful decorative sconces that either have a lantern hanging off of them or supporting a lantern. I'm not sure. I want to use walnut for this. Let's chop up a walnut. And actually we can just do slabs because they're so cheap. We're not going to use that much material. I'm going to assume that this is going to go right here. Walnut slab. Alright, so I want this to kind of go dead center. Oh yeah, and it's going to extend past the block as well. There we go. Forgot that we have the planer at our disposal. Nice. I just realized something. This has to be pushed like either to the bottom or to the top. Yeah, I'm gonna move that one up. I'm gonna move that one down. I'm just gonna get rid of that. It's because I'm gonna have the lantern sitting on top of this. Okay, my idea is to kind of have like a loop, I guess, and then have like a loop around. Like that. That is a little, like, maybe not what I want. A heavy temporal storm is approaching. I'm busy. Okay, so I'm looking at this guy's sconce thing. He actually didn't have it extend so far out. That's interesting. How does it look when I put the lantern here? I want to put it, like, sideways. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, look, it's connecting to that. I don't want it to connect. Oh, no. I mean, that's cool, but, how do I avoid that happening, huh? Does it have to have, like, a big enough platform to be considered ground or something like that? I kinda wonder if that's the case. Let me just throw some blocks in here. See if that changes things. Nope. Nope, that doesn't do it. Darn it. Maybe if I had it coming out even further? Like, even further than it's already coming out. What happens if I... Requires a solid face to attach to. Oh, look at that. That's neat. I mean, it's not what I want, but I mean, that is an option. I could have it hang out way out like this, you know, and then I'd have to just kind of chisel around it. Oh, I moved it down. Oh. Yeah, that was enough to break the lantern right off of there. Huh. Just wonder, like, what the absolute bare minimum is. How little... Yeah, it looks like that is the bare minimum. Look at that. So I think if I get rid of this block on the right, it'll pop off. Yeah. Put it back. I'll go back on. That's interesting, because it's asymmetrical. Let me take them off of this side now. What? Okay, so it's totally biased. Look at this. I can shave off the blocks on the left, no problem, and that side becomes seamless. But if I even take one off of here, it breaks. And it won't go back on until I've put that pixel back. So that's kind of strange, isn't it? It's just kind of odd. Regardless, that is an option. That is something I could do with it, though now it is kind of hanging out quite far. I'll break that one. Nope. Just trying to get that perfect pitch. Well, that's kind of hard to see, but I don't know. That's weird looking. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to get inside in a minute. Plus, I'm starving, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to come back to this later. All right, boy, let's go. All right, I think that this looks quite nice, actually. I think this turned out pretty well. Well, interestingly, I found that to place a lantern on here, you have to have this exact shape, or this amount of room for it to sit on. And that is the exact same amount as if it were to be turned parallel to all the other blocks. See, it's seamless, but I kind of thought it was neat to have a diagonal like that. Anyway, I got two up here. These are like my last two lanterns, meaning I'm gonna have to get some more. I really don't have a lot. I don't have a source of candles. Definitely gonna need some more for this building. And then over here, I've finished this wall, I guess. I mean, it's about as high as I think it should go. I don't think it should go super high, but I want to have enough room for the roof of that other building. Here's my problem. There's just such crazy aliasing happening on this thing. Look at that, huh? Look at that little diamond pattern going back and forth. Maybe the YouTube video compression gets rid of it. The aliasing is crazy. So another problem that I've kind of noticed with this is that because I'm using this multigraph to copy that shape back and forth, it creates these really weird lighting errors. So look up here. You can see it starts light on one side of the block, then it ends dark on the other side. And you can clearly see the lines between each block. It's not very seamless. That's shadows or like lighting errors causing that right there. But you come down here, you don't see it. The reason you don't see it is because I went through and I updated every single one of these that I could reach. So you can see there is a stark difference. This blends together a lot better than up there, where there's a clear difference. And day and night cycle doesn't seem to fix it. It doesn't reset with using debug chunk commands. I don't know what to do about that. I really don't. But it is a little frustrating. I don't want to have to go through and like touch every single one of them up. Look at that. See? You can see how they like light up once I just mess with them a little bit. I think placing blocks next to them will also update it. Maybe when I do the interior of the structure and place blocks and stuff on the inside, that'll update these outside blocks and it won't be an issue. But at the moment, it is an issue, of course. But yeah, from a distance, I think it'll probably look fine. Up close, the aliasing's pretty rough. The shadows are pretty rough. The lighting glitches, yikes. But there you go. That's what I wanted the tower to be shaped. And we're missing some parts of it for sure. Now, here's a part in the video where I'm going to suggest something, okay? I don't often suggest things for this game. At least I don't think that I do. But I think that it would be a way that Vintage Story could take building to the next level. And I'm going to bring up another game as an example for this. Welcome to the world of Voima. This is a Voima. It's an in-progress sandbox game. It's very unfinished, but it's a project that I've been following. I haven't ever done a video on it. Now, the thing I like about Voima is that the building is very revolutionary. It is very different from Minecraft, Vintage Story, anything. You can really kind of build anything And the developer's always adding new stuff. So for example, you can build any angle of anything. So I was building this layout for like a courthouse here, and I wanted these to kind of be turned in a little bit. You can do this, and look here. There's this is flat, you know, it's not like chiseled or anything like that, it's flat. So by using draw mode, you can kind of draw any shape that you want. You can adjust the length of those things, and then you can sculpt, you can do whatever you need to. There's a lot of opportunity, and that's how I built a lot of this stuff around here. That's how I made this like porch thing, for example. Let me show you what else you can do, just to give you an idea of what I mean here. Something you can do in this game is you can build on a grid, right, just like Minecraft, but you can also build off the grid. You can do that. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't seen, you can actually curve build. Kind of build on these lines like this. Take these donut shapes right here. So I made these donut shapes by placing blocks like this. It'll automatically connect each corner and fill that in with your new block that you've placed. So I made like an octagon here. You can get more specific. This is an imperfect circle, but it is a circle. This one was fun to do. And then the pillars. Another thing you can do is you can use the scissors. And this is my suggestion, in a way. So what you can do is you can cut and shape a block any way that you want, right? To any shape that you want, vertically in this way. And that's helpful. But there's also vertice snapping. So if you notice, the cut line automatically snaps to the vertices of a block. So let me cut this, let me destroy the other half. There we go, we have a perfectly diagonal block here. It would be interesting if this was possible in Vintage Story, in some regard. A diagonal block of some kind. I don't think it needs to be like as powerful as Biome needs to be. I just think that diagonal blocks, like this, would be very cool. Because then, imagine this is my tower. Instead of a million chiseled micro blocks and weird aliasing, you just cut. And there you go. I think that's pretty convenient. It's kind of a weird suggestion. I don't know if they will ever listen to me on that. But I think that that could maybe take building to the next level. Until then, though, this is kind of what I'm resorting to doing as far as updating the lighting goes. Look at how it changes. I don't like doing this because it's so time-consuming and it just tears through the chisel, man. It just tears through it. But I kind of don't have a choice. If you notice, this lighting error isn't going to go away. I think it's because it's bordering another block. Look, so the right side, I mostly updated the lighting on this side. On the left side, I didn't update the lighting. So you can see like the lines that are there. There's no lines over here. Distinct ones anyways. You know, looking at it from this angle, can't hardly see any sand there. It is just slightly frustrating, but I want to move on. So where's my elk? There you are. Got some maple? I know you got some maple on you. I think that the next step here is creating something to cap off the top of that tower. Look at all the mobs that are spawning underneath this area I've terraformed at. This is terrible. Look at them all. Oh my gosh. Yeesh. Oh, look, I missed one. There we go. Building this has been very dangerous, especially when I was trying to convert every layer of that to be diagonal. I was falling off of it a lot and killing myself. And then mobs have been killing me. It's been a bunch of hullabaloo. Alright, so here's what I think I need to be doing. Let's place these. Let's trace out the top of this. I want to be careful to keep it in the same consistent direction. There. I really like this color. I think it stands out very nicely. Just realized I should really have a wrench for this part. Look how the fog increases as soon as I run over here, huh? Oh no, a rift. Very high rift activity. It's been pretty high lately. I just had a temporal storm too. Oh no, right in my yard. Yeah, there's my wrench. Looks pretty cool so far, I guess. The reason I need a wrench is, here's my thought. I place a log here. I want it to face upwards. There we go. Let's place one there. There. It's kind of tough to get him in the middle like that. Nice. 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 Okay, and then again, I'm going to... This is going to be maybe a little bit tough. I'm going to copy this shape down here. Paste it over that like this. And so it has the sidewaysness to it. That might be a little bit difficult to pull off because planks are rotational, as you can see, just as well as logs are. So, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it correct. Especially once you chisel it, it's kind of like you can't change it, So I want it to be in line with the rest of these. Now we kind of have this diagonal shape matching the bottom. It's a little bit larger, but then we have these extruding maple logs, which I think is pretty neat. Now I don't think I want these to be too tall. I think we need to go a little bit taller. Whoa, that was a mistake. Okay. Sometimes you just get lucky when you're falling in this game. Fall damage seems really buggy. I know I went over a little bit earlier, but that time I didn't even land on a chiseled block, or in one. Jeez, dude. It's like a gamble if you'll get damage from falling at all. It seems like. I feel like that's non-intentional. I mean, it is slightly realistic. Sometimes you can fall from a great height and be okay. And sometimes you can fall from a tiny height and kill yourself. So in that way, maybe it mirrors real life. I don't know. So I kind of have an idea here. I don't really know how well this is going to turn up. But I believe I can craft a trapdoor. Solid trapdoor, that's what we want. Pretty easily. Let's make 2 of these. Oh wait, it already makes 2. Now let's fill... I actually don't have any glass on me for the moment. Okay, here's your wall. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Look at this, sideways trapdoors. That is so cool. But imagine I do it like this. I really hope this is possible. If it's not possible, it's okay. Chisel that. Chisel this, chisel that. Look at this. So now it's like you've opened the hatches a little bit, right? That's cool. Glad that's functional. Let me make it one more, and then let's get a look at it from down below. Dang it. Let's take this ladder down a little bit. Alright, hurry before it gets dark. Let's take a look. I mean, that's cool. Again, we're suffering from the shadows and the aliasing. I really am gonna have to fix that. But I mean, if you stick with the vision, maybe you can see what I'm going for here. God, that is crazy. It was very trippy. Anyway, that's the idea. Alright, now let's add some beams to it. So I think if I go from here, top corner, Oh, what the heck? Let's try that again. This corner. Bro. Let's try opposite. That corner. This corner. There you go. Nice, nice. The other thing I kind of wanted to do was have some beams going up like this, and then coming out like this. Thought that would look neat. Maybe it needs to be a little different, I don't know. Because it's diagonal like this, it's kind of difficult to tell where they need to go. These are going to be terrible to remove. I don't like it either. That one's a little different. I'll experiment, but I feel like something like this could benefit from a lot of beams. The current rift activity is apocalyptic, and we just had a temp storm, so I don't know what that's all about, but I guess we just roll with the punches. Check it out. This is what currently the finished product looks like. I ended up switching out the outside stuff for ebony. I guess it's kind of hard to see from this angle. But you might also notice all the shadows on here are gone, finally. And how did I manage to accomplish that? Well, oh crap, I forgot one. I went through and I updated all of it. I literally touched every single one of these blocks again, and I died doing it a few times. Apparently I missed one, so let's do that really quickly. Here's the method, all right? I would do this. I think I showed this earlier. Boom. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, I did that to every single block. So it looks way better now. Now it still has the weird aliasing, but you can, at least it meshes a little bit better. So I wanna move on just a tiny bit. This structure here, I guess I should go down anyways so you can get a look at it. Look at the rifts, man. I added this here. Those two beams are dark. I actually don't know why that is. This structure here, I want to start adding on to that. A little bit. I made a bunch of plaster by grinding down limestone and then cooking it into quicklime and then combining it with sand. I made a bunch of plaster. And then I put the beams there. So I hope that looks good. I don't really know. We'll find out, I suppose. My idea is I put this white plaster up there and then I decorate the rest of it with beams. First thing is, let's take this off. Updating that doesn't seem to fix it. I don't really know what to do about that. And then, not exactly what I want to do. Okay, there we go. So I take this plaster, place it around like this. Boom. And then when I go to the front, I'll add all these maple lines around it. Now, I guess what I'm debating here is if I should sink the plaster into the block a little bit, just like I've got here. I kind of think I should do that. Let's go down first, though, before I decide anything. That's what it looks like. It is really different, isn't it? And it is really different compared to everything else. I almost wonder if maybe maple is not the color. Maybe I should do walnut or I should do ebony. That's... I've already committed so hard to the maple. I wonder if I should, instead of plaster, because it's so white, you know, maybe use like a darker color that would fit better with this kind of tone. Or like the maple doesn't really fit this build. It needs to be grayed out because it's just so saturated compared to like this down here. That's kind of tough. My immediate reaction is just to do maple and then the white plaster because it's like your classic two-door, kind of like Dutch-style housing. But I'm not sure if those two things fit. Imagine that this wall is dark and then this stuff is bald cypress. That would be inverted colors. That'd be interesting. Kind of wondering if wattle and daub might be a better color for this. So we have a lot of options. Ashen, wattle, and daub. Brown, which is really dark, but that could be cool. Gold brown might be the best matching color. Green, orange. I don't know about orange. I don't think that would work. Blue, which looks black to me. Look at that, pink. That's kind of similar. Yellow. I think that's too saturated for my taste. We have a lot of options. I think this golden brown is the best. So how do we make golden brown, wattle, and daub? Seems like pretty much any type of sand will work. Even andesite sand, which is surprising. Red clay makes golden brown. And then I would switch this color full of wood out with, I guess, walnut, because it's just desaturated. Well, anyway, let's just try this. I don't mind trying it out. Let's see what we can do with this pattern here. So let's, I don't know, corner to corner. I won't go the whole way. Corner to corner, we have that. You can do this, I guess. Oh. Oh, man. That's not the one I meant to get rid of. Are you kidding me? Okay, we have something like this. One of these we're gonna need like a window, and then some of them we have like cross hatching. The question is, do I like the colors? Yeah, now that I see it together, it is like, I kind of feel the vision a little bit more. Ow. I guess I have to look at it during the day and decide if I like the colors. I gotta get out of here because it's literally the apocalypse right now. Oh, oh no, no, no. Yo, he just killed him. Hey. Elkram just killed that guy. I didn't know he could do that. No way. That's cool. He literally just stomped him to death. I'm surprised I caught that on camera. Oh my goodness. I've got to think about it. I got to think if I want that color, if I want a different color. You know, maybe that area is too big. I just got to think about it. Alright, it's a more reasonable time of day. The rift activity's down to medium. I started tearing down the underside of this weird little pattern that I put there. And then I realized that it looks like way better when that's just not there. You know, I don't know. It just looks better when that crap isn't there. So I think that I don't want this white stuff to like hang out. So maybe I just go underneath it. I chisel it down to a pixel thick layer. Ah, dang it. And like have it a really, really subtle kind of border trim, right? So I mean like this. Let's, well, I need to get lower than that actually. We can go a little thinner, just like that. And then I copy that. And boom. I think that's just like preferable, you know? Now I've got to go through and update the whole thing again. Oops. I think that this looks better. Let's go get a look at it from the bottom. Ooh. Squatters. They're squatting in my new home construction. Couldn't even wait till I finished the development. Yeah, like I think that's better, but I still wonder if I need to use the walnut instead. So many choices, so little time. I keep thinking that this video needs to end because I've recorded so much footage. I keep thinking like, oh, I'll just go a little further, a little further, a little further. You know, get that thing done, but it's, man, it's a lot of work. All right, let's get our walnut support beams. What an ordeal this is. Alright, totally clean slate. Let's try the walnut slabs, I guess. Ah. No! No, shoot. Oh, shoot. Oh my god. This thing is killing me. Okay. Then the beams. Nothing too crazy. And then maybe what if I went from the top of this out? No, you don't even see it. I was thinking like you could have that poking out, but you don't even see it. What if we do it like this? I push that to the center of that block, and then I remove it. Ooh, huh? That's cool. It's kind of a thought I had for a while, but I just kept thinking about how much more work it was to do that. More work, more work, more work. If you're playing Vintage Story and you don't like more work, then this is not the game for you. I don't know. Ah, dang it. Look at that. It's like dark for some reason. Why does that happen? I don't know. Does it need to be updated? Is it because it's in a chiseled mud brick? I think that's what it is. I think that this is just like kind of hooked onto a chiseled mud brick. I chiseled this by accident, whereas this is like not. Let's grab one from here and replace that. Chisel block down here, normal block right there. That goes there. That goes there. And look, now it's normal. So I guess it was because it was inside of a chiseled block or, you know, whatever. I don't know. At this rate, I'll never be able to retire. There's that. You know, I actually kind of, I mean, I like that idea, but I don't like the color. I just don't like the color. I have the feeling that it needs to be dark, but I wonder how it would look if it was this bald cypress. How would that compare? Which is obviously very light. It's very close to the color of the plaster. There's one more thing I didn't really look at. How does this look from here to there? I didn't do that. I forgot that step. Yeah, it's cool. It's just tough, man. Birch? Huh, what would birch look like? Hi, neighbor. Huh, that looks good. That matches the color of this very closely. Stop shooting me! I guess I gotta break these. How about that? That is, like, better. That is better. The birch is better. Let's try the bald cypress. Let's try the birch. Let's try the redwood. Let's try the maple. Let's try the walnut. God. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. It's kind of weird that these change a little bit when I mine them. How about now? How about now? How about now? Huh. I mean, it's kind of pretty, but I think that having the window trim the same color as the trim for that is a little off-putting. Just a little bit. Let me do some cross-hatching there. I feel like I would pick the birch over this. I don't have enough beam for this. That's as far as I can go. A little bit of cross-stitching. That's pleasant. Like it's a pleasant light color. But I think the birch is just better. It's gotta be done, birch. Now, the other question that I guess that I have to ask myself is the roof for that thing. So the roof for that thing, I wanted to be a pyramid, but that's going to be really difficult to pull off. I can't just do roofs like this. At least I don't think that I can. Like, you can do inner corners, you can do outer corners, but you can't do diagonal roofs. That's not a thing. There may or may not be a mod for that. I don't really know. One Roof is a mod that adds, like, way more intuitive roofing system. Like, it's literally the block for the roof is just a single block, and how you place it calculates the slope of it and everything, so you don't have to have a bunch of unique pieces. They should put that into the base game, in my opinion. But I don't know if that works diagonally. It'd be cool if it did. Just kind of have just like a lot of stuff going on here. You know, we've got this building, which turned out great. This building, which is confusing. This building, which turned out strange. I mean, it's really cool from a distance. It's really cool to look at it from over there. But I don't know. I'm just racking my brain trying to figure out how to do this. There's been storms like crazy. I don't mean temporal storms. I mean real life storms in Michigan that have been just going insane. Tornadoes and that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's kind of a neat angle. It's just tough, man. It's just tough. Because it's so tough, I kind of think that I should just end it here. This castle project has proved that it will take a lot longer than just a single video to get this thing done. I mean, I've got to finish these exterior structures in a way that I like. I've got to build the towers here. I have to build the walls between the towers. I have to detail everything. I've got to create the inner floor plan. I've got to detail the inner floor, interior decoration. I've got to do landscaping. I need to like build cellars and stuff as well. There's just so much that has to be done for this project. And I guess that's the thing with Vintage Story. You know, you have a lot of creative freedom, but it's very time consuming. Now, because it's so time consuming, it's also very rewarding to have something so cool like this. Whereas in Minecraft, you could probably build this or something similar shape to this, like a rectangle with a peak in like 10 seconds. There's your starter base, or whatever they call it these days. But in Vintage Story, it takes effort, it takes grinding. And in this case, it takes a lot of thought. With great creative power comes great responsibility, I guess, is the way that I would put it. Anyway, I'm really excited for 122. It just released Candidate 2 just came out. I am very excited for that to come out and to try fishing and the new smithing mechanics and the berry bush stuff. There's so many things I'm looking forward to. That'll be really cool. I think that my next video in this world will probably be working on a different project. We'll just take a break from the castle and maybe like build a blacksmith or something. That'll be awesome. Oh man, I just thought of something. Imagine how fishing would be in that huge lake over there. I hope fish spawn in it. You know, I wonder how that's gonna work. Anyway, a lot to look forward to. So hey, if you like my videos, you know the buttons that I would like you to press. You're very familiar with them. I would appreciate it. Thank you to my members. You guys are supporting me. I certainly appreciate it. As a thank you, members get access to unedited versions of these videos. They're like these, but longer. I'm still proud that we got this one done, and it looks really nice. The theme is quite different from the rest of the structure. Whatever, we're learning. These other structures that I want to build, they're going to be singular structures, so it'll be a little bit easier to keep on theme, I think. Just cracked my knuckle. Oops. I know it's been a long time since this video and the previous video about Vintage Story. I make so many videos, and then lately I've been really very busy in my life, but I have entire playlists of other games. I have an alpha Minecraft world playthrough that's like 20 episodes strong or something. If you want to check that out, go for it. Besides that, I don't think I really have anything else to say, except that I appreciate your patience, and I'm glad that you guys watched. Let me know what you think of everything. Let me know what you think of my cool amulet. I like how when you move the camera down, the Seraph like looks up more. And then when you move it up, his head goes down. Weird. Anyway, I've been Monster, and have a good night.